So, yesterday Google had their keynote, or whatever you want to call it, and they announced 4 new phones. They announced the Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 9 Pro XL, and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, or whatever they wanted to call it. Bit of a weird naming, to be honest, but we'll go with it. To be honest with you guys, this is the most interested / excited I've ever been for like a Pixel event. I never really saw Pixel phones as like flagship tier level phones that compete with like Samsung's like S24 Ultra or X Ultra or Apple's iPhone X Pro Max. So I never really saw Pixel as a really high competitor with those until now, because they've kind of had some interesting specs, and I'm really excited to see how these phones go neck and neck. Let's start with the base Pixel 9. Now, the Pixel 9 is coming in with a 6.3-inch OLED display. However, across the board with all the new Pixel devices, they're going to be rated with a 2000 nit peak brightness and a up to 3000 nits peak brightness for HDR content. Pretty nice to see, to be honest. These are some bright displays. Now, in terms of processor, this is like the display rated nits is going to be the same across all the new Pixel devices. It is going to be using the new Google Tensor G4 processor. Now, honestly, I've never been the biggest fan of Google processors. I'll just let the Geekbench scores do all the talking. With the base Pixel, we will be seeing 12 gigabytes of RAM with storage options of 128 gigs and 256. It's also going to be equipped with a 4,700 milliamp hour battery with 27 watt wire charging. Kind of an awkward number, not the fastest, but I'm not going to say too much. This is the base Pixel 9, so yeah, not bad, but not great. You know what is great though? The cameras. Always something I'm super hyped about when it comes to Pixel phones. Now, with the base Pixel 9, we are getting a 50 megapixel wide-angle camera with a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera. The front shooter, the selfie camera, is going to be, I believe, 10.5 megapixels, so honestly, pretty solid cameras, especially for like the baseline Pixel. However, I would have liked to see a telephoto lens, to be honest with you guys. I feel like since, Pixel 9 is a flagship level device, I would love to see a telephoto lens. Maybe not necessarily replacing the ultra-wide, but maybe in addition. Like, come on Pixel. Give us a telephoto lens on the base Pixel, please. Other than that, some things that are also the same across all the new Pixel devices is the fact that they're all 5G, obviously. They are all equipped with Wi-Fi 7. Pretty nice. Good for future-proofing, Wi-Fi 7 isn't really out there right now, but hey, these phones do have 7 years of OS updates and software support, so who knows how long these devices are going to be kept by some people. They're all also going to be IP68 water and dust resistant, launching with Android 14. More on that later. And then for glass, another thing that I was kind of disappointed about, it's still using Gorilla Glass Victus 2. Now, you guys saw with the S24 lineup, the new Gorilla Glass Armor, which was more scratch resistant and had this beautiful anti-glare, anti-reflection like coating on the display. And trust me, it worked perfectly. I would have loved to see this with the Pixel lineup, but unfortunately not this time around for some reason. And now let's talk about the 2 phones that are the star of the show in my opinion. The Google Pixel 9 Pro and the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. This is the first time we've ever seen a Pixel Pro device with an XL variant, which is nice from a consumer standpoint because not only is there a smaller Pixel 9 Pro, there is a bigger Pixel 9 Pro XL. I personally went with the Pixel 9 Pro XL for pre-order. Let me know what you guys went with in the comments below if you decided to pre-order this new Pixel phone. Now, in terms of specs, the nice thing I like about this is Google isn't making it too big of a difference between the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL. Samsung, take some notes. For example, with Samsung with the 24 Plus and the 24 Ultra. I know some people out there like smaller Ultra / Pro like phones. There is a big difference specs-wise between the 24 Plus and the 24 Ultra. However, I feel like Pixel does a better job of trying to even that gap out so it doesn't feel like you're missing out on too much going with the smaller device. So, RAM-wise, both phones are coming with 16 gigs of RAM. Samsung, please take notes. We've been wanting this for a while. But yeah, 16 gigs of RAM on both of these Pixel Pro devices. Love to see it. Now, storage between 2 phones, they are going to be coming starting at 128 gigs. For a Pro phone, I don't think that should be a starter, especially with how much these phones cost, but All right, Google, you're giving us options. We got 128 gigs, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. I believe this is the first time 1 terabyte has ever existed on a Pixel phone. So again, love to see it. Now, battery is something where we kind of see a small difference between these phones. The base Pixel 9 Pro is going to be having the same charging speed and battery size as the base 9, which is 4,700 milliamp hours, and the 27-watt wire charging. However, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is going to be having the 5,060 milliamp hour battery. Again, a weird number, but okay, Google, with 37-watt wire charging. Better of an upgrade, but I would have loved to see a bit of faster charging. Maybe 45 watts or a bit higher. But hey, I'm not complaining. The cameras are a different story. In a good way, because they are both the same exact hardware on both Pixel Pro devices. Love to see it. Both of these phones are going to be coming in with a 50 megapixel wide angle camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel 5x telephoto camera. Absolutely love the consistency with the megapixels across all the cameras on the board. And how could I forget, front camera / selfie camera is going to be coming in at 42 megapixels. Very consistent megapixels across the board. Love to see it. Now, something I can always say about Pixels is they have always had an impressive lineup of cameras, not only just hardware, but software. Google's software with their cameras has always been really impressive to me. And in their keynote, one really nice thing they showcased, which not a lot of companies really show nowadays, and they kind of threw a little shot at Apple, but panorama mode on cameras. Not a lot of people use the panorama mode, but there are times where it can really come in handy, especially whether you go hiking, you're with a big group of friends. There are use cases for these, and most of the time, night shots is a big struggle. Overall, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about these devices. This is the first time, as I mentioned earlier, that I've really been excited about Pixel phones. In fact, this is the first time I'm pre-ordering a Pixel device and going to be using it as my secondary phone. Very interested to see how that is. Stay tuned for my unboxing video and my day in the life review, because that's going to be a really fun experience to test out Pixels and stock Android. Android 14 for now. Unfortunately, not coming out with Android 15 from launch. Pixel / Google usually releases the newest version of Android alongside their new Pixel devices. Why this time around they didn't do that, I'm not too sure, but that could be a good thing, to be honest. Maybe they wanted to put more time and focus onto Android 15 once the Pixel devices were released. So hey, I'm not going to blame Google about this. Now, let's step aside from slab phones for a second here and talk about the new Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Got the name right because I checked it before recording this segment. So let's talk displays. The external display, we're going to be seeing an OLED panel, 60 to 120 Hertz variable refresh rate, with a brightness rating of 1800 nits and a peak brightness rating of 2700 nits. And for the inner display, we are seeing an OLED panel once again with a, this time, 1 to 120 Hertz variable refresh rate. Love to see that. Really wish that was on the external display as well. However, brightness is going to be rated at 1600 nits with a peak brightness of 2700 nits. So not too big of a difference. A lower brightness rating for like HDR content, which is a bit interesting, but again, it's the inner display, it's a bigger display, don't really need it too bright, so I do understand why. In terms of battery, we are going to be equipped with a 4650 milliamp hour battery. Pretty nice. Not too sure off the top of my head what the charging speed is. However, I did hear that it was compatible with a 45 watt Google charging brick, so 45 watts possibly? Don't quote me on that though. So Google has made some big claims here. According to them, US only, because we're not going to count the Chinese market in terms of foldable devices, because to be honest with you guys, those are on a whole nother level. Those are amazing. But according to Google, and they are not necessarily wrong about this, the new Pixel 9 Pro Fold is actually the biggest inner display foldable on the market at the moment, and is also the thinnest foldable device on the market at the moment. What I didn't mention previously was the screen size of themselves. Now, the exterior outer display is going to be 6.3 inches, which is pretty big for an outer display. It almost makes you feel as if you are using like a normal slab phone, because it is on the wider end compared to some foldables like the Z Fold 6, where it's rather taller. So I know some of you guys really like the wider outside cover, but let me know in the comments below which you prefer. However, the inner display is where it gets interesting. The new Pixel Fold's inner display is 8 inches. That is pretty big news. The Fold, honestly, just foldable devices in general, like, yeah, it's nice to have a bigger inner display, but I feel like they could be bigger, especially for the price we're paying for them. 8-inch inner display is awesome. That's the biggest inner display foldable from the United States that we have seen, and to be honest with you guys, it looks awesome. And just like the looks of this foldable altogether, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was not a big fan of the first gen Pixel Fold. It was way too bezel-y. The inner display, as soon as you opened the Fold, looked like it was from like the early 2000s. No offense, Google, I know it was your first attempt, but I gotta say, Google has made phenomenal improvements with the new Pixel Fold in terms, I'm talking cameras, displays, reducing the bezels. Like, these are some awesome improvements, and it's something, to be honest, that could really go neck and neck with Samsung. Samsung, you got some catching up to do. These companies are kind of trying to take your crown for best foldable. I'm just letting you know. And speaking of cameras, there's a big improvement with cameras as well. And for a foldable phone, to be honest with you guys, it's pretty impressive. With the new Pixel Fold, we are seeing a 48 megapixel wide lens, we are seeing a 10.5 megapixel ultra wide lens, and a 10.8 megapixel 5x telephoto lens. Again, weird megapixels, like, why the decimals, Google, but whatever. I'm not gonna complain because this honestly sounds like a pretty nice camera upgrade. For a foldable device itself, I know it's not gonna be as good as the Pixel 9 Pro camera set, and that's a given. This is a pretty thin foldable, and it's a foldable. Like, they're not gonna be able to put that much camera hardware in something that's gonna be that thin. So it's going to be interesting to see how Google approaches this for future foldables, whether if they're going to increase the thickness or even the camera bump to put better hardware in terms of the camera. But I'm really excited to see how this camera is going to perform because on paper, it looks pretty interesting. And there we have it. That is Google's next set of phones for their Pixel 9 series. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. If you have any questions, comments, I just want to hear your guys' opinion. I always check my comments and do my best to reply to each and every one of you guys, so I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Like I said, I'm personally super excited, and this is the first time I'm ever pre-ordering a Pixel. Next Thursday can't come any sooner. I can't wait to pick up my Pixel 9 Pro XL, get that unboxing video out there for you guys, and give you guys my honest impressions. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in as always, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next YouTube video.